Good evening. My name is John Keith, and I'm a student here at Georgia Southern University, and this is my Student Affairs interview. The interview was taken on March 20th, 2014, and I decided to interview the Assistant Dean of Students at Georgia Regents University, Miss Gina Thurman. I wanted to interview Gina because she serves not only as the Chief Conduct Officer for the university, but she also oversees various departments in student affairs, which include student life and engagement. Gina is a mother of two and has been working in higher education in the Augusta or CSRA area for the past 20 years, and she fell into working in higher education. Growing up, she, like many, had no idea that higher education was even a career option, but became interested once she began college and learned about the various careers. Here, pictured are Gina's two children, Ashley and Zach. Ashley, who is 16, and Zach, who's 13, on a family vacation that they had taken, just to see that Gina is able to balance being a mother and a student affairs professional. And her background includes having a master's in education and counseling education, and prior to working in higher education, she also worked in retail, which I found was extremely interesting. But for her, she kind of thought about it from the standpoint of she enjoyed interacting with people, and while in retail, she realized that while she did enjoy interacting with people and connecting with people, what she enjoyed most was being able to have such an impact that helped them better themselves. And that passion was awakened in her as she worked as a student assistant. She has held various positions in student affairs, including an administrative assistant, coordinator of special student programs, and international student advisor, and now currently serving as the assistant dean of students. The road for Gina to a career in higher education started, like I said, when she worked as a student assistant. But it was while she was here that she developed that passion for student affairs that led to her eventual 20-plus year career. So I asked Gina the question, what she liked best about working in higher education, and the answer that she gave me was that by far the best part of her current position is seeing the impact that our work has on students. She shared with me that she always cries at graduations because there's always one student that I've worked with who struggled to complete their degree, and seeing them at the finish line is always emotional. And that just speaks to the type of woman that Gina is, and the type of people that you would hope to have working in student affairs. Here's a picture of Gina as she's preparing to see one of her students off. This was a basketball player who was getting ready to go to graduation, and he brought her a shirt, and so she was very pleased, and I just wanted to share that with you. And I also asked Gina what she liked the least about her job, and she said that the worst part of this job is seeing a student with potential who makes bad choices and decisions, and they end up throwing away the opportunity that they have to be successful. As I mentioned, she is the Chief Conduct Officer, and so as such, she has to be the one to tell students that they can't return to school. And for her, that's always something that's hard, but she tries to help the student find the lesson in their situation. When I asked Gina if she was satisfied with her career choice, her answer was a resounding yes. She can't imagine doing anything else. She loves her job and the work that she does. She gets to teach and interact and learn daily. And she loves being able to make an impact on students. And here's a picture of her speaking to parents during orientation. It just shows the passion that she has for her job. As far as future aspirations go, she aspires to become a dean of students, and she would like to earn her doctorate in higher education or student affairs leadership. She's looking currently at the program in student affairs leadership at the University of Georgia, and hopes to apply and join that cohort next year. The advice that Gina gave to me that I found very beneficial was to stay in school and complete your educational goals. That no matter what position you're in, to be the best at that position, to take advantage of every opportunity that is offered to you, and to not limit myself to certain experiences, but instead gain experience working with other functional areas. As far as the department, I asked Gina what the mission for her department was, and she shared that the Division of Student Affairs will create transformative and inclusive opportunities for all students through co-curricular experiences, exceptional services, and welcoming environments. We will facilitate intellectual, spiritual, social, career, and cultural development through campus collaborations that promote competence, integrity, and compassion. As far as the organizational structure goes at Georgia Regents University, there is a vacancy in the Dean of Students position. So Gina reports directly to the Vice President of Student Affairs. And as such, she oversees the Office of Student Leadership and Engagement, which is comprised of 6 full-time professional staff members and 2 student workers. Those positions in or those specific positions are the Assistant Director for Student Programs, the Business Operations Specialist 1, the Coordinator for Student Development and Engagement, the Coordinator for Greek Life and Leadership, the Coordinator for Student Involvement, the Office Assistant, and the Student Workers. Within these different positions are coordinators or individuals who work with either all the student programs that are on campus, like the production crew or the university programming board. The business operations specialist would focus on the student activity fee funding and allocations for the different groups that are represented by this office. Coordinator for Student Development and Engagement would be over our student organizations. Coordinator for Greek Life and Leadership would be working with the fraternity and sorority community, as well as an emerging leaders program or service learning. Then the Coordinator for Student Involvement would be that person that makes sure that the student organizations are all on the same page as far as leadership development goes, as far as opportunities for involvement, so on and so forth. As far as recent changes that have that the department has experienced over the last few years, Georgia Regents University is a newly consolidated institution, and it was formed after the merger of Augusta State University and Georgia Health Sciences University, or formerly the Medical College of Georgia. So with that change comes new leadership, comes additional positions, reclassified positions, redefined duties, and a shift from an access institution to a Tier 1 research institution, which she stressed because they were used to dealing with one set or one type of population, and now switching to a Tier 1 research institution, they're seeing more high ability students come in to the institution that they're having to find different ways to engage. As far as the budgetary status and financial need of her office, the department is funded through the Office of the Vice President of Student Affairs and is in the process of evaluating its budget. But what they've seen is that the financial need basically comes to manpower. They need more staff. Since we've merged, we've taken on a larger population and more work responsibility, and as such, individuals are taking on way more than they were in previous years, and so the need is definitely there for additional bodies to help compensate for the influx of students. The biggest accomplishment, according to Gina, is successfully completing a consolidation, being that Georgia Regents University is the merger of 2 very different student populations. They've created a comprehensive student code of conduct, and they've evaluated all policies and protocols to make sure that the new university is representative of all its constituents, and so that's something that they're definitely proud of. But the biggest difficulty for them is losing people due to the change, due to the merger, because not everyone saw value in that change. And then also combating the mentality of that's not how we do it, or just doing things because it's the way that it's always been done. That's language that is used often, and so getting people to kind of shift that mentality has been difficult. As far as the future plans, um, they would like to hire a dean of student life, and are currently in the process of filling that position. Um, Breaking away from the VP's office and becoming a separate department, like a dean of students department or something of that nature. Expanding the fraternity and sorority community, adding more student organizations, and then expanding housing options because Augusta State was primarily a commuter campus, and so adding those options for students is something that's important as Georgia Regents moves to being a Tier 1 institution. As far as issues in the field that she's seen, the number of students on medication with mental health problems, and the institution's slow response to accommodating them, not just the institution, but really just the field in general, not being as adaptable as we need to be, tends to be an issue. And then, of course, budgetary concerns and the rising cost of college. Because with lower state funding and allocations, the cost, unfortunately, is being shifted to the students, and so Gina fears that we're making college too expensive for students to be able to get a higher education. And as far as my reaction to my interview with Gina, I think that it was extremely positive because she is knowledgeable and has seen higher education through various lenses. She's been involved in a long time. She's been able to see the field evolve. And I think that having somebody that's been at an institution for so long, is rare in a student affairs professional. Most professionals, their institutional knowledge is limited to a few years because in order to move up, you have to kind of move on. So to have somebody in student affairs that kind of climb through the ranks at that particular institution is something that I find very intriguing. And I enjoyed it particularly because Gina is my direct supervisor, and she's extremely relatable. And takes my opinion about my area of oversight, which is Greek life and leadership, into account. Because of her supervisory style and the people that I'm surrounded by, I enjoy working in student affairs. I enjoy interacting with the students and developing programming along the students that enhance their collegiate experience, and I think that that's a direct result of the mentality of my supervisors. And I think that this was a very informative interview. I know Gina personally, and I know that she's a great supervisor, and it's always encouraging when you work for somebody that believes in the work that we do. So that's my take on the interview.